Hello friends, today we're going to do another replay analysis for Rubick here. Daniel, this is I think you were Legend 4 when you submitted this, but you have made it up to Legend 5. Congrats. Let's see if we can get you into Ancient or a little further even. Today we're going to be looking at this Rubick, and I put this off for a little bit to make sure I had enough time because this is a long one. We got an Arc Warden, a Techies, we got Spectre, Nature's Prophet. We're going to be going for a while. So, for this video, I want to emphasize more of the late game decision making. So we're gonna try to go faster through the early game. We'll see if I actually manage to do that or not. I am known to talk for quite a while, but I think the late game decision making is a bit more of relevance here because obviously since this game went for an hour, like you didn't just roll the early game. And when you have an Arc Warden and Techies, it's like very difficult to do that anyways. And this happens. This happens a lot in pub games. So, wasn't I clicked on you? I'm so confused. Well, whatever. Let's get started. So, your position 5 Rubick, which is a little uncommon. I would say position... Let's back up a second. I need to see if you click that Wind Ranger. Your position 5 Rubick, a little uncommon, but not the craziest. If you want to look at pro players doing this, Insania is probably the only one. I can't think of another position 5 pro player who tends to do position 5 Rubick. He's usually a 4 because he likes to be a bit greedy. But when the game goes late, it doesn't really matter. So there you go. 3 Mango seems a bit high to me. I see 2 builds on Rubick's usually. You either go 1 set of Tangos and Boots. That is a position 4 specific build. It's very difficult to do that as a position 5. And then the other is to get a lot of stat items like branches, a circlet, or a mantle, and emphasize your right clicks and trading in lane. Now, some consumables can help you do that, but I think 3 mangoes is probably a bit too many. You're not really going to spam out your spells. You're only going to use telekinesis when you absolutely have to. It's either going to lead into a kill, or you're using it to save someone. You will spam out Fade Bolt a bit, but usually you don't need like 3 mangoes to do it. Because if you don't have mana, like you can do other things. You can trade with your right clicks, pull, stuff like that. People who like want this many mangoes are people who can trade out with their spells very effectively. Fade Bolt is like okay, but if you look at it, 100 damage for 120 mana, not the best. But what matters is the damage reduction, which helps you like actually trade. But it's weaker than it used to be, so I don't think you spam it out as much. To be honest, I'm not fully sure for position 5s. Like, again, I was talking. I'm just going to click her myself to see. She did not have a ward. I was talking, and I like faded if you were clicking or not. But you should click her to see if she has stuff. If she walked all the way over here, I would be a little suspicious if they have a ward. Doesn't mean they do have a ward, but you know, that's what I'm looking for. Nature's Prophet, Wind Ranger. The Ring of Protection good here. You're going to be facing a lot of right-click damage. It's a little weird on Rubick, though. Oh, unfortunate. You know, I actually don't mind the idea. Thinking about it, I don't mind too many mangoes if you're going to spam out this wave to kind of help deal with the Nature's Prophet treants. I would stand closer to the rune in this case to try to have a better chance at getting it. Alright, I said we'll speed up through this part, so let's go. I would be a little careful of standing there. I would be like moving down when you come to look at top. When she uses E, I would just walk away because you literally can't trade with her. You can't hit. Alright. You know your lane is now gonna push really heavily, so you should be thinking about pulling. She looks like she's blocking the small camp. Yep. Okay, but you could still pull the middle camp, or the hard camp. I was debating whether you could even pull this very first camp, but I don't... It'd be... What would that have done to the lane? I'm worried that they would just farm this if you did that. But let's see. You're going to pull this next one. So you had the right idea. Walked a little too far out. You just have to like stand here, let them attack, and then walk the rest of the way. Just a minor adjustment to make, but it'll help you land pulls, especially when the camps are ranged. One of your jobs this game, in this lane, is to keep an eye on range creeps. I'm pretty bad about this myself. I need to be better. But Fade Bolt is really good to secure range creeps. And Ursa's going to have a hard time doing it against all these treants and against 2 ranged heroes. I would have him ask Ursa to cut this tree, or next time you use a tango, cut that tree so you can walk through here. Alright, you can see they're pulling. I want to point out, you haven't really used Fade Bolt this lane. And so it's like, you got 3 mangoes for what, you know? You get the mangoes when you're going to spam out spells. And in this case, you haven't really spammed them. I would even just use it like once a bit when you're like right-clicking a bit. Just to get the mana regen going. I think that's the first time you used it, unless I'm dumb and missed it. I'm feeling a little like off today, I'll be honest. I feel like mildly dizzy. Alright. Easy D ward. I think that did block the 3-minute camp though, so I guess it served its purpose. Good use of Fade Bolt there. Now this might be a game to consider a Quelling Blade. It's a little weird on supports, but against a Nature's Prophet, it has a lot of late-term value, long-term value, and it's a pretty cheap item, 130. Just to always get out of Sprout, never get trapped in there. And then you can also use it to like set up any ward tricks, move around paths. But right now you have Tango, so you don't really need to buy it anyways. So, all fine. Wind Raider's actually doing a pretty good job of blocking all the creeps. Nice. Okay, well, this micro save was good, and then I would just wait a little longer, or like, send it down here or something, or like down here first. You know she's in the area, so having it, I think you probably just like pressed Q to send it home, and it probably just ran through there. But I would just like wait a second longer. She was lost, so like she didn't know where it was. So I would just wait a little bit, let her get out. If you're worried she'll run this way, then just like send it down here first, instead of this path. But that first micro was pretty good. Yeah, that's probably reasonable, thinking she might have had a ward because she was killing the courier. What'd you come to lane for? Oh, to help Ursa a bit. Yeah, that's probably a fair reaction to go try to help him out. I would try to pay attention to the rune time. Though again, it's a mistake I make as well. I think in that case, Ursa was not that low health. You could probably just let him go. I probably would use Fade Bolt there just to farm them up. You're at full health, or full mana, you know, so just, they were pretty low. I would just use it. Nice, okay. So the lane's going pretty decently for you, all things considered. Let's pop the net worth up. Yeah, Ursa's at the top. Pretty surprising. This is a lane that he should win, in my opinion. Honestly, things going well. I would have pulled that small camp. Although, I think you could have made it still. But I think you decided that maybe you were a bit too late, so you wanted to do this one. That's fine. You still get a pull off. And it looks like they're not going to see this to contest. Slight difference in how you're positioning, though. I would stand up here. Right now, what if Wind Ranger's back here, just absorbing XP, and you don't know? Because it's Fog of War. No, Ursa's all the way up here. So you're pretty safe to be here. Because if they go on you, Ursa will run over and help you out. And you're not going to die too quickly. You still got your Fairy Fire. You got full health. You got a Tango to break out a Sprout if he uses that. So I would stand here to zone her out, because then she either has to fight you here, which is okay because Ursa's just going to run over, or she has to back up further over here, and then she's out of range of this XP. So slight difference. Now, if the lane was down here, then yeah, you're going to stay here because this is way safer. You're not going to be up here while Ursa's down there. But because Ursa's up here, you're safe to stand up here as well and zone them out aggressively. Are we recording? Yes. Okay. let's continue. Ursa's probably okay at this point. It is feels a little weird to rotate to a Techie's lanes, I suppose. Unfortunately, they just died. And Rubick does want some fast levels. I don't hate the idea of pulling, but I do kind of feel like maybe we could run top. Drop a ward down here, run top. But now that they've rotated down here, that opportunity's kind of gone. Ursa should go jungle right now, I think. Just go, like, farm this camp while waiting. A little scary to do that. You might die again for this. Okay. Fortunately, you get out. I might actually start... So you finished your TP and immediately Fade Bolted. I might start to run this way first and then Fade Bolt as I'm further away. Because if you reveal your position once you're here and they're immediately going to come in, whereas if you're like out here, you're already starting to run away, I think. That might be a little better. I do want your team to defend this, but I don't know who can do it. Because you have a Techies, which makes it really weird. And you have an Arc Warden, he doesn't want to come. Doom technically could, but then Spectre knows she's really safe for a really long time. This is kind of a draft issue. I'm not sure if there is a correct response. I like the idea of trying to go for deny. A little dangerous. But actually with the heroes they have, I think it's probably safe for you to do so. Oops, let's go back to you. Okay, so you went straight Tranquils. I think it is a bit more common for many Rubick players to go for Arcane Boots, turn those into Aether Lens, and then build the Tranquils. Having said that, I don't know if position 5 Rubick just goes straight for Tranquils. It's a little weird. Also, before we go further, let's talk about spells you want to steal. You should identify, anytime you play Rubick, identify as heroes are getting drafted, what is the best spell for me to steal? What does your team need? Ursa, Arc Warden, they will eventually provide the damage for your team, so you really just need lockdown. And in general, the debuff amplification, I think, is pretty busted on this hero, Rubick. So I might be looking for Firestorm, percent max HP burn, really good against Spectre, really good against Underlord himself. Just a very nice spell for you to steal. Pit, also pretty good. Your passive will amplify the root duration, and it just provides more lockdown against their entire team. Lion, Earth Spike, or Hex, pretty strong. Finger of Death is actually, I don't know, it's always fun to steal, but I feel like the lockdown spells are really, really good. Plus, they are low cooldown, so you can just use them frequently. You know, if you steal this, I would use it and then immediately look to, like, get a stun or something instead. And then from her, Shackle Shot, I think, is probably the best thing you could steal. And then Power Shot. I don't really care about any of Spectre spells, really. You know, nothing. If you have nothing, then yeah, steal whatever you can. But, I mean, odds are you're getting Spectral Dagger, which is not amazing. If you're chasing a Spectre, it's kind of okay, I guess. But don't need to chase her if you just stun her for longer, you know? Nature's Prophet, if you manage to steal, like, Teleport, that's pretty dope. You could be rotating around a lot. Nature's Call is okay to help push. Wrath of Nature, Sprout, like, they're okay, but I like the hard lockdown a bit more on Rubick. So I want to establish that before we go any further, because I will always be looking for those as a team fight breaks out. And if I have a good spell, I'm not just going to instinctively take another spell because I know that I already have, like, the best spell that I want. So at this point, you don't need to be bottom anymore. So I would leave. Walk away. You have the Tranquil, so you're really fast. Okay, this is good too, actually. Waiting for the runes. I forgot the timing. I admit it. I saw it, started talking about spells, and then forgot about it. So I don't mind that. In fact, that was probably right to wait there and then go up. Now's the time to go up, though. If you suspect they're ganking him, it's okay to wait here, but otherwise, like, you're not really gonna make a play around him. It's not that useful. That's pretty risky. Well, against their heroes, maybe it's not so risky, actually. Maybe it's fine. Alright, finally top. That's what I like. Nice. Good stuff. Got nothing to say there. I think Firestorm is a better spell than Power Shot. I would have just kept Firestorm. Because this, 350 damage, but then it gets reduced every time it hits something. This, never reduced. The damage... actually, to be honest, I don't know the full damage off the top of my head. But I'm pretty sure with the max HP, this is straight up more damage, even on a single target. And the cooldown is just about the same. It's a little longer, but really, I think Firestorm is just way better. So I would keep that spell instead of switching it to Power Shot. Okay. Okay. That was a little... I saw you running in for that. It was a little scary because I knew your stuff was on cooldown. And there were like 3 other heroes around him. But I don't blame you. I might go for that too. Ursa's farming. Spectre's being pressured a little bit. So I think that's fine. Ursa's going pretty deep here. I don't think he should be doing this. I hope he's not. Gonna die? He's gonna die. Alright. That's not your fault. He should not have gone that far. TPing top. Okay. Good sentry to check the high ground. Right. Go right back to pressuring. Again, trying to speed through this. I want to get to the point where the game starts to stall out a bit. But right now, this is about what you should be doing. You, Techies, and Doom are actually pretty strong with the 3 of you, so Arc Warden can farm for the most part. Ursa can farm till he finishes his item, and then ideally he should help you guys, because in my opinion, Arc Warden is your hard carry this game. He's going for a Battle Fury build, which means he needs to continue farming after this. No wonder why you have a 1 hour long game. We're not here for him, so let's just continue. My Power Shot. This is a little too deep, though. Sorry, if we're speeding up, we'll slow down here for this. So, Shackle Shot is fine. This is a nice stun, but if you look at the minimap, you're actually surrounded. I don't think you noticed, though, based on the screen. And I'm sure if you had noticed that there are 2 heroes behind you, you probably would not have moved in this way. But then it's like suddenly, oh, all the heroes are here. This is actually a really bad idea. Yep. So you guys want to pressure top, but you don't want to like dive crazy like this. Because this is now like the reverse effect. They just got a bunch of farm, and they defended their tower. Ursa at least is doing okay. Actually, how was he before you guys all died there? Actually, he's not as ahead as I thought he would be. But then Spectre does get a couple hundred gold to surpass him here from all those kills. I would just keep going back top. Ursa a little deep again. Okay. Yeah. I still think you just need to keep going top. I don't mind this TP. You got Firestorm. It's going to do a ton of damage. Okay, all good. Now, when you first hit level 6, I'll say this real quick. I should have said it earlier when you were 6. But, you know, most people at level 6, what do they have? They have 3 points in one of their spells because that's, like, their best spell, for example. And it's, like, it's not possible for them to have multiple spells at that level. But for Rubick, it is. Like, look at you. You're level 8, and you have 2 spells that are maxed out. And your other spells. So you generally want to steal whatever spell is maxed out on certain heroes. Which, I mean, you have been doing. I don't know if you've been thinking about it, though. But so, for example, if I had the choice between Lion Hex or Lion Stun, I want Stun because it's most likely that he's been maxing out Stun rather than Hex. In this case, it's kind of weird. I think he should be maxed out already. But, like, him, he almost always maxes Firestorm. Her, Power Shot, I guess it's pretty common on supports as well. Sometimes they do Shackle Shot. But keep in mind, like, what spell are they likely to have maxed? I probably want that spell because that is the most value, because you get it at whatever they have it at. Now you might already know that, but just for anyone else who plays Rubick, if they aren't thinking about that, keep that in mind. So I think this tower should have already fallen. You guys went a little too deep, I think twice in a row, and so because of that, it's still up, but you finally get it. Now that does matter. I'm pointing out not just like flame, but think if you had gotten it like 3 or 4 minutes ago. Because when you have a techies, this is a video about Rubick, so it's... But, like, we're going to talk about techies here for a bit. What techies represents, especially in the early game when no one can deal with his mines well, he represents an area of the map that no one on the enemy team wants to go to. But recognize that techies has a limit based on the amount of mines he can place. Because he started off as a 4 position, no one really wants to play in these trees. That's pretty common for techies to leave mines. And in this area right here. This is really scary for most people to walk into because there could be techies mines and they could kill them. There could be some in the lane. It's a little less common now. Like, playing techies has evolved. People are starting to put their mines like this. When you guys dove really hard, you came all the way here. And this is actually a safe area for the enemies because it's very uncommon for techies to come place mines here. And in fact, you pretty much can't have a stasis mine here because these creeps would trigger it. And anyone walking to lane would see this proximity mine. It would pop. And so they know this area tends to be safe. And so when you guys dive all the way here, the enemy team feels fine, like, committing on all of you because they're not worried about running into mines. Whereas if you're only pushing the lane here and then they try to commit you here and you back up a little bit, they're like, oh, do we still want to do this? Like, we could be running into a bunch of mines all around here. Anyone who wants to wrap around you guys, they can't. They're going to run into mines and get spotted. They may not die, but, like, you'll see them on some of the mines and you'll back away. Having to run through here is super scary. Having to go here is not. So when you have a techies, just pressure the lane normally. Like, stand here, fight here. Like, just pressure this. Or, you know, have a ward here so you can see anyone trying to come in here, or have the mine set up. You can pull the wave if you want. Don't let them destroy the mines or accidentally trigger them. But you can... Like, you can deal with these creeps in this area where it is safe. And this could have been done, like, 5 minutes ago. It could have been done way sooner, honestly. Like, when Ursa was doing okay, that was still before, like, the 10-minute mark, and you could have rotated up here already and played with his techies, and no one wants to go into this area because there's a techies. And so you guys just slowly whittle down this tower. Which means, instead of being up here at 16 minutes, you could be, like, pressuring mid or something. You know, so this timing, like, we could have saved over 5 minutes if we had done, like, a more slow push with techies here. A more, like, disciplined one instead of diving. And, like, that is, like, when I'm thinking about an hour-long game, it's like, where do we shave off time if we had played our objectives better? And it's like, oh, we could have had this first tower 5 minutes ago. So that is a bunch of time that, like, could have played out differently. And that's sort of what techies represents in a game, and how you should play around him, is to just let him make an area safe, and then force an objective, and then you can leave that area. They can't even, like, after you take this tower, like, techies isn't going to add tower damage too much. He's going to keep placing his mines here, which means after you get this tower, you can leave. You can go to this mid lane, you can go to this bottom lane to take this tower, and anyone who wants to push top is scared still because of these mines. Like, no one in your team actually has to be in this lane, and this tower up here is still kind of defended based on all the mines that have been set up while you were taking this tower, and that lets you move on to another objective while having a pretty safe, like top is still protected, and, like, they can't force you to rotate back top because the mines will defend it for at least a little bit. Though, having said that, Nature's Prophet is one of the better heroes because he has the treants and he can break trees. But still, the same core idea applies. Now, I might... At this point in the game, it's pretty uncommon for a ward to be over here, right? Because they don't really need to see this area. Wards over here are more useful when the enemy team is, like, pushing your high ground. So odds are, if they have a ward, it's here, here, or in this middle area. And I think because they killed your Arc Warden, you're thinking, oh, they probably have a ward here. I agree. Good idea. But the sentry doesn't need to be up here. Because this sentry is checking some of this area, and this area is, like, useless. They're not going to have a ward there. Try putting the sentry, like, over here, because that would cover this high ground. It would cover this area as well, which is, like, decently common to ward. And it would cover here as well, also pretty common to ward. And then just have your courier check high ground. And then if you really need to, you can put another sentry up here, and now you've covered, like, all the major areas that people tend to ward. And you don't have to worry about this area because you know that it's, like, it's 17 minutes in the game. You have your tier 1, you have your tier 2s. Like, they don't really need vision of this area quite yet. You got some people getting picked off. We're starting to approach. I mean, I would say we're in the mid game at this point. What is he doing? Arcorn's hard to play. I won't flame him. But as we start getting into the late game, I mean, we're not there yet. We're still a while away. But the reason I want to emphasize, the reason I still want to do this video replay, even though it's like an hour-long Techies game, and it's like, but late game decision making is important. And what late game decision making tends to come down to in pub games, at least in my experience, is that you have to kill someone. You don't necessarily want to take a full team fight, because that can be really scary. That can just end the game right there. Even if a team's really behind, they get lucky on a team fight, they win. What you want to do, you want to randomly kill this lion. And then the enemy team is 4 people. They don't want to fight a 5v5 because they're behind. And because it's late game, lion is dead for a really long time, so you're able to farm up, get an advantage like that, set up wards, whatever, and they don't really want to fight. Late game decision making in pubs is really just about finding those pickoffs and snowballing that. Continue to look for kills so that they are always like a man down. And we'll see. Techies is like pretty good at that. That's why Techies is like kind of a decent late gamer, because like one hero dies and they're like, we cannot push anymore. Like, we will lose a 4v5. And someone died randomly due to Techies mines. And when that happens, you want to pressure. You want to snowball that, because one kill on a hero late game, that's like 70 seconds of time, right? Which is decent. But what if you kill another person and you overlap that time a little bit, right? You get the kill while this person's at 30 seconds before they respawn. And now you have like the second opportunity that's like slowly staggering longer and longer, where your team is in the lead. That's like late game decision making in a nutshell for pubs. It's like the simplest way to think about it. And I want to paint that picture now, because it applies earlier too, but I want to paint it now so that as we get into the late game, we start to see like how that happens. And I don't quite know when that phase will happen, so I'm going to paint it early. Okay, Spectre. Pretty scary hero for Arc Warden. It can go both ways, where if Arc Warden is farmed enough and Spectre tries to dive him, then he like scythes her and they kill her. Or if she's ahead, she like always finds the Arc Warden, and he hates that. Now you hate it too. Why are we looking at a sentry? You hate it too because you're a backline support. That's why most support players, not a huge fan of Spectre, because she's pretty annoying for us. She always gets on top. Things like this. Firestorm doing a ton of damage to her. I don't know if you can see that, but can we see how much damage you do? No. But notice how much damage you do, like, relative to your team. It's almost all Firestorm. Firestorm is a massive spell, especially against a hero as tanky as Spectre. Nowadays, many are skipping the Radiance. They're going for these, like, early stat items. Underlord, a strength hero, also very tanky. It's just really good. Oh, your team has lost it. Do you need the tome? Let's double check. Okay, I think it's fine. We've got Tranquil's Aether. That's pretty common first items for him. Next thing I'm thinking about is some survivability item against Spectre, so that I don't just die every time she haunts, and that when he teleports in, I don't die. I might have even considered a 4-staff instead of Aether Lens, specifically because of Nature's Prophet. But at the same time, Rubick like really likes the Aether Lens, so I don't mind if you go Aether Lens instead of Force Staff. But I might consider like a it's kind of hard, actually. This is pretty... I was going to say, this is pretty scary positioning, because you know they're all gone and your team's not quite here. But you might not die. No, you're good. At least they get a kill first, though. Okay. I guess that's not the worst, considering your team said to go end. I would want some kind of survivability item now, though. Maybe a Glimmer Cape. Usually, Rubick likes to get mobility items that increases like effective spell stealing range. But you do need a survivability item. Force Staff is like useful against him, but Spectre will just run you down. Ghost Scepter will protect you from her right clicks, but put you at severe risk of like getting burst by random spells. I kind of like a Glimmer as a way to deal with those spells and to go invis when Spectre jumps on you, because Spectres don't always carry dust. Like, look at her. She's getting pretty farmed. This is going to be a Diffusal. What does she switch out for dust? It doesn't feel great to swap out a Wraith Band or a Wand for dust. She might, but she might not. So, I like Glimmer here, I think. I would be careful about capping this without more of your team here for this very reason. Keep in mind that they have 2 global heroes. I mean, she's probably not going to haunt to kill you, but his commitment for global kills is very low. You're just a Rubick, so he could just TP in very quickly if one other hero is in the area. Like, even if it's just a line who stuns you and then he completes his TP, you're probably dead. What the heck is this? Bloodthorn First Rush? Wonky. Wow. Ah! Alright. Probably have vision in that area. Would be my guess. Because he seemed to attack you through the trees. Though maybe you were standing in a spot. It looked like you were... Where were you? It looked like you were here and he TP'd in here. So I might assume they have some kind of wards. Though it looks like they don't. So maybe... Oh, maybe you were still affected by Spectre's dagger. That might have been it. We're going a little fast. It's hard to see. Speed up a bit again. So Arc Warden, like, farming okay, and he's my hope that at this point we are clearly not like crushing the game like in the lead. And so in my mind, if I was in your position, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably gonna go late. Let's just like, we can still win though if Techies like picks off a random hero. Doom really good at say killing off a Spectre. Arc Warden, just a very good late game hero. So I'm still thinking like we'll still be okay. Like, they seem to be in the lead based on kills. I don't know if you would have a feeling of like how much your team is farming at this point, but I'm just trying to stall the game out now and not lose too much momentum. Like, don't let them snowball with a Spectre, you know? That never feels great. Now, she's doing well, but don't feed a bunch of kills. So this kind of stuff is good. I wouldn't walk up here. Again, you've got Firestorm. This is like the best thing you could get. You traded Firestorm for Wind Run, you know? At best, what else could you have stolen? Power Shot? Shackle Shot? None of those are as good as this Firestorm, in my opinion. And so it's like, once you have Firestorm, I'm just like sitting in the back here, dropping Firestorms, Fade Bolting, stalling out this tower push. I like the idea of stalling out this tower push. I don't like that you ran up and then like tried to steal like what I think is a worse spell. I think Firestorm is super good. And running up, you're like just asking to die. If this guy roots you and then like Nature's Prophet Bloodthorns you and kills you. Rubick wants to stay hidden in the back.
See you later, nerds.
Get it. I'm surprised you're not. I feel like, okay, at the least you could Fade Bolt her. You could also Wind Run next to her so that she is slowed a bit. Or even lift her and throw her back. It's really important not to let this guy die. Even though you guys are like pretty far here, I still think it's like really important to do something to help save him. Now it works out, but you know, still. Okay, he stole teleport. I think that's pretty good. It can help you do stuff like this. Shove the lane out. Something else you could have considered is to TP top, like back here, and cut the wave. But that probably isn't going to save this tower. So that's something I might have done if it was like tier 3. For tier 2, probably not fully necessary. But I like TPing down here and shoving this out. I think that's good. See if they're going to keep going. I would keep an eye. Like, I don't know if you're watching the mini-maps, but keep an eye on them to know when it's like safe for you to keep going or like when you need to return home. I'd also be a little careful once I see him TPing. You don't need to teleport. You have this one. Save your money. This is expensive. 90 gold. That is. Wait, we changed the passive gold, right? It's now like 100. I can't remember actually. I have to double check. But that's like 1 minute's worth of passive gold essentially. You could have saved. Also, this is just sitting here. I don't know if this is an accident or what happened. But I don't know if that's a bug. Seems like this is just in your backpack though and you don't have a slot in. This is really scary. If you want to TP out this far to do this, you have to consider 2 things. 1, when Nature Prophet supports do this, they tend to TP onto the high ground and then drop the ward there. Because if someone was farming here, he would see you. What if Nature's Prophet was here, had broken these trees, and was farming this? He would see you. If you TP up here, though, they won't see you because it's the high ground. So, for 1, do that. You have a 4 staff if you really need to get down. 2nd, you don't have your teleport right now, which means you are stuck here until this is off cooldown, and you are like on the low ground in vision. So I would definitely teleport to the high ground if you want to ward back here, and then wait the 20 seconds and then teleport out. I think that's okay, but I'd be really careful about teleporting to the low ground. He's coming. Oh no. Whew. You are kind of stuck here. I would take this time to like click different heroes. Let's see what neutrals are in stock actually. I wasn't paying attention to that. Big fan of holding the shovel, making sure someone's using it. So I think you just don't have this in your slot. Maybe you had something else and you teleported that, had this delivered and you forgot to put it in. I don't know. Something happened. That definitely should have been in there though. But I'll stop harping on it because it's probably clearly an accident. So let's not worry about it too much. Again, I'm just really scared. What if someone was farming here? You know? This is terrifying to me. You know, she's coming to kill you now. And if you get spotted, you have to ask, like, what are they going to think? Do they think you were just walking there for fun? You were obviously there for a reason. And if you're a support, you're probably there to ward. So if you ever get spotted deep on their territory, it's almost for sure going to get de-warded. And you might get killed. So you're going to get killed here. I would expect this to get de-warded next. Maybe not right now, but soon. I also don't think it's like super necessary to like risk your life to drop those wards. You want to do a high ground ward back here while nothing's happening? I think that's okay. Doing it twice in a row means you're like off the map for like a minute, you know? Because if you teleport here and then teleport out after 20 seconds, that's 20 seconds you committed to warding, and that's pretty normal. But teleporting somewhere else, that's like 40 seconds now. And that's like starting to push it a bit. I think it would be better just like push it with your team or something like that. Or like only ward the high ground, somewhere where it's safer and you're not risking your life. But like from you dying, now they're safe to like push up, and now they snowball that into 2 more kills. Whereas imagine if you you TP'd up here, that's fine. And instead of coming here, you just like come back home. You can participate. Oh, they may not even go on Arc Warden, and then Doom won't have to respawn. All of that, you know? All a snowball effect. Once you steal your spell, I would back up. They have people who can jump forward and kill you pretty quickly. I would be a little hesitant, even standing at that edge there. She's got dagger. She's a ranged hero, ranged hero, ranged hero. AoE spells that can reach. I would be a little worried. Now, the timing around now is that both teams want Roshan. Honestly, your team wants Roshan even sooner with an Ursa. But the game's been going kind of like, eh. But something I might have been thinking about for your team is to, like, win a team fight, get Roshan fast. I don't know. It's really hard. I feel like usually I would be talking more about the plays your team can make. It feels really awkward with Techie's Arc Warden. They're not heroes that want to do that. Your team's you kind of have to wait for the enemy to push into you. You win that fight, and then you quickly go do something. And that feels really bad. This draft is just, like, really awkward. But that happens in pub games, and that's why, like, I do want to try to talk about it. I'm looking at your team, and it's like, I don't know, it's really hard to do something. You can try to roam with, like, you, Doom, and Ursa around this point, and Techies. I would bring Techies anyways. And then he should have bots, right? Yeah, and he teleports in to fight. But, like, you guys can push out with smoke, look for a kill. Ursa then comes to do Roche. Slow down.
See you later, nerds.
So Techies is dead. You guys now have to be a little scared. But because a lot of Techies' contribution can still be like a kill around a mine, I wouldn't necessarily back away all the way. Like, you guys could take a fight around here. If someone gets too close to the cliff, you could kill them with the mines. I want someone to, like, go bottom. That should be like Arc Warden's clone. Push that out. Never mind, they're here now. Push him top. Okay, Lion killed, not bad. Time to go in. Let's go. Go fight Roche right now. Yeah, I know you saw it. I hope you're telling your team right now. Let's go. It is 4v4, but Techies is almost up, and Techies has a mine there. He can contribute. Like, we got to get there. They're doing this. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go. 4 staff in and steal it. 4 staff in and steal it! Oh, you absolutely could have done it.
See you later, nerds. See you later, nerds.
You absolutely could have stolen that Roshan. That's the big plays. Fade Bolt her. It'll reduce her damage. You know, you're dead. Cast your stuff. Once you know you're gonna die, just, like, throw out all your spells. Try to do a bit of damage. But this could have gone really differently, right? Spectre's the one that just killed you and Ursa. Imagine if you had stolen that Roshan. Or stolen that Aegis, and then Spectre just dies there. And then she doesn't come back to, like, kill the two of you. You now have Aegis, which is a little weird, but it's like, you having Aegis is way better than them having Aegis. You know, you just, like, 4 staff in, eat this mango, or 4 staff in, put your stick in your backpack, whatever. Definitely always keep that in mind. Anytime, like, you see a Roshan going on and you're, like, rushing to fight it, be ready to steal it. To lift people up right as it dies. Stun them if you have that. All that sort of stuff. We're halfway through the game. 44 minutes into the video. But we can speed through. Right now, I don't know what you're doing. I would be moving. Look around. Keep an eye on, like... Actually, what's happening? Oh, sorry. My bad. I forgot I was on free camera. Let's go back. I was about to... Maybe you guys are typing? I don't know. This is why I usually advocate for the mic, so you can still look around. But I understand not everyone wants to talk on the mic. Definitely take the time to, like, move around, click heroes. There you go, stuff like that. Alright, you're doing it. That's what being dead is for, is to, like, check all the items and do all the stuff you forgot to do while you were alive. That's what I do. Okay, Arc Warden clone pushing out bottom. Your high ground is godly. You have an Arc Warden and a Techies. And you can steal, like, Firestorm. So their tower damage, not that amazing if you guys are in place to defend. Okay, Haunt just got used. I would gather up your buddies. Look for a fight. This is sort of like looking for a fight. Okay.
See you later, nerds.
Fights happening in like 4 different places. Top is working out? Yeah. Alright. Unfortunate. Overall, okay. 2 cores for 2 supports. Your team could push right now. A little bit. Oh, it looks like you guys have to defend, but like, if I was your team, I'd be willing to fight this.
I admit nothing but my sadness that you're gone.
See, this is kind of like wasting time a bit while they're dead, chasing a Wind Ranger. It's like good, but also unfortunate because you don't have that much lockdown when you're dead. But this is kind of what I was talking about. While they're dead, you guys got another kill, which means you have another 70 seconds where your team is in the lead. Let's see what you do. If I am your team looking at this minimap right now, runes just spawned. You could try to check for that. I think you guys already grabbed a couple, though. You could also go to capture. My dog just came down here. You could also go to capture an outpost. That doesn't feel the greatest, though. Aegis is down. So maybe you guys just push mid lane, take a tower. Push out, establish some wards. You probably won't even get a tower. But what I would want you guys to do, pick a lane. I don't even really care what lane it is, to be honest. Just push together. Arc Warden doesn't have to go because he has BOTs. So 4 of you go together. You push out and you de-ward and ward and then get out. You put not common wards because you know once she respawns you're going to be pushed out. So you push up. I don't want you to put wards on like the cliff. Cliff wards are when you're going to continue playing in the area and fight. We're not doing that. We're just pushing out because we have 70 seconds where we can do that safely. And then we're going to fall back again. So thinking back to what I said earlier, what's our plan? We want to keep snowballing kills. When's the easiest time to do that? When we see them split up. So when we have a kill, like right now, we know we're safe to push out for 70 seconds. So we're going to come out. Let's say we push mid lane. We push it all the way here. That's fine. That probably takes about 30 seconds to walk up here. Your team can kill the creeps pretty fast. You get up here. You have a bit of time. Your cores can hit this tower. While you're sitting in the back, you want to stay close enough to help, but you have a 4-staff and Aether Lens. Let's see your talents real quick. Good. That's all good. So you have pretty long range spells. So what you can do, you can like run over here. Go drop a really weird ward like over here. This isn't the best vision, but you'll see anyone farming. You might see someone smoke in mid. You might see someone run by this way. And it's unlikely to get de-warded. What else? You could put one... Here is like okay, but honestly it's not that uncommon to put a sentry here. So maybe up here, I like this ward a lot. This works for me in many games where many people don't check this area. They tend to put their sentries here or down here. But this ward lets you see this like whole little area. Lets you see people walking by, farming this camp, walking to farm this camp or this camp. What are some other weird ones? Here, here. These wards that are unlikely to get de-warded, but it's fine. We aren't putting vision on these cliffs because we're not playing in this area. We are actually going to be playing over here, and we want to be ready to quickly smoke up and get another kill when we happen to see that, oh, there's one person alone here, and I see 2 people pushing bottom. That means 4 of us right now could smoke top and kill this one person here. And by the time they rotate, like if we've already killed that person, it's now a 5v4. You know, if Arc Warden has teleported in or something. Or like you see one person top, you see one person bottom, and it's like, oh, that's not enough information. Like there could be 4 people bottom or 4 people top. It's like, where do we choose? And then suddenly you see with one of your like weird wards, like, oh, their support is over here. That support, you know, it's Lion. Lion will never make it to this fight in time. Let's go bottom or something like that. That is how you like find kills with those kind of visions. Now I talked about all of that before seeing what you did. So actually, I'm glad I did that. You could do this when they're all up, couldn't you? This kind of ward? Yes. What kind of ward can't you do when they're all up? Wards over here. So I don't want you to use your wards here. I want you to use them on their side while you can, which is like right now. And you need your team to do it. You can't do it alone. I understand that. So like if you're asking your team to push and they're not doing it, that's like a separate issue. It's not your fault. You at least know what the correct play is. But right now, you have to tell your team, like 4 of us, please, let's all go into their side. This, another super defensive ward, which you could do. So look at the minimap right now. It's easier than watching the screen. That's like the default. But like watch the minimap so you don't get dizzy as I move this around. So this is the idea. You push up with your team. You go put your weird ward on this side, or maybe you put it on this side, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Whichever side you pick. And then Wind Ranger's about to respawn at this point, so you guys back up. And guess what? You could place this ward as you walk away now, right? Yes. Or you came up here, you warded here, your team backed off, you split up, you can go ward here, right? These are wards, the ones you just placed, these are wards you can place as you are retreating when they are all up and you are resuming to play on the lower half of the map, or like your half of the map. It's not really the lower half. But the wards up here, the wards here, that's something you can only do when your team is up there. And guess what? If your team decided to push right now, which you still could because there's 40 seconds, you actually don't have a ward to place up there now. So be very conscious of that. This kind of vision is just like extremely defensive. Which you kind of need because you have lost your towers, you know? But it is still good to get like one vision on their half of the map because Spectre will either be pushing a lane or like farming her own part of the map. And if you guys want to pick off Spectre, you need to know where she is. And if she's farming in the jungle, you have no idea. But if you happen to have a ward there and see her, boom. Or if they happen to have, and this is very common in pubs, this is why it's good, is because they should just be all grouped right now because they're in the lead. But very often, they will also be split up, farming different areas. And that's why you need these like deep wards to see when a random support or like an offlaner is not with his team and he's farming instead. And like you can go kill him and snowball. And then that's how you can like push your team into the lead as the game goes later. Okay, boom, another kill right now. We have snowballed. Remember, this is the whole idea. First, we killed, I don't even remember who we killed. It's been so long. I think it was Spectre and Nature's Prophet. We had 70 seconds. Towards the end of that, we killed Wind Ranger. We extended it again. Just at the end of this Wind Ranger time, we just got a kill on Nature's Prophet. Okay? Same concept still applies. Push it out right now. Right now. 4 people together. All together. And then ward. Ward somewhere aggressive. Aggressively weird spot that is unlikely to get dewarded. Another, like, this is on their half, yeah, but it's still quite defensive, right? You guys only pushed up to here. It wouldn't be that unsafe to do if they were all up, you know? You being the first to go up here, that is scary. You're the support. Ursa with Enrage, and what does he have even? He's got Enrage, he's got some status resistance, fairly tanky. Doom, he could be the front runner, right? He's got BKB, Blink, Blade Mail. Like, send those guys first if you can. And tell them, like, please, all come together. I need you to. As a support player, I think you, for better or for worse, we need to talk a bit more in the game. Because, like, we really cannot do our job unless they are doing their job. And so you could just be quiet, let them do their job incorrectly, but then you just can't do your job either. And so it's to your benefit to tell them, not in a mean, like, micromanaging way, but just to, like, come on, guys, let's all push right now while she's dead. You push, you're like directing them to do their job, and it then opens up your ability to do your job as well. Now, Ursa has the right idea, but these guys are kind of close. I wish they were closer right now. Because what if 4 of them took a fight on the 2 of you right now? Technically, it should be a 5 versus 4 if a fight were to break out. But when you're split up too far, like, they can quickly kill you and balance it out. This is what OG does all the time. They, like, constantly find kills that when they're, like, way behind, and they come back into the game that way. Now, of course, we're pub players, Legend 5, close to Ancient, so we're not nearly as good as OG. But the same idea applies. It's like, if we're too split up, you know, like, it doesn't feel good, you know? And the other reason it was, like, necessary to push up here, so this was the right idea, but then you guys just backed away altogether, and I would have really liked to see, like, a group of you, like, move this way, because you steal their farm along the way, you get the opportunity to put one of those weird wards I was talking about, and that helps you set up for Roshan, which is kind of what you're waiting for right now. So you guys just back away a little early. So right now, we know she's top. We know someone's mid. Should we have vision of this player right here? Why do we see this? This might be a bug. I don't think you're supposed to see that yet. But like, if I was you, and I see one here and I see one here, it's like, okay, we can't really make a play. I have like 3 of them could be right here. Can't go top or bottom. What if I had a deep ward over here and I can start to see how they are split up? That's how we can make the play. Nice. Okay, same thing. Go, 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 go right now. This is a really good spell. 2.6 second AoE stun, extended by the fact you have Aether Lens and the cast range talent. And then the stun itself is also longer because of the debuff talent. Really nice spell. I might like, look how far that hit actually. All the way over here from here. Like, this is a crazy stun. The cast, so I know when you click it, you click here, but then like it goes beyond where you can click. As Rubick, you need to know like a lot of the ins and outs of like all the other spells. So like maybe you already know this. I'll just say it for anyone else or whoever doesn't know. Earth Spike, if you click here, which is the edge of your cast point, the spike will actually continue further. I think it's 200 units, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure that's on the wiki, but it goes further than what the ring shows. And I think the way it works is when you have a cast talent like Aether Lens or the cast range, it extends the circle, but then it's still only like 200 units that it goes beyond that circle. So it's not like, oh, extend this 150 and then this 150, and you have like this crazy long talent. I am pretty sure the range it goes beyond is the same, and I think it's 200 range. But I haven't seen a lot of Lions. He's really bad right now. So I started to forget that stuff. Like, you see the Wind Ranger there? Can you jump on her? No. This is a bug on the minimap. We're not supposed to see that person. But just one person showing can't really commit on that. That's why these defensive wards, they like protect your team, but don't the mines from techies kind of do a very similar job? Yes. Can techies sit up here for like 5 minutes though, mining their jungle without dying? Not really. But you can put your ward down in like 10 seconds up there, you know? So like the wards can be used aggressively, whereas the mines can't really be. And you could use the wards defensively, but the mines can be used defensively, and it's much safer for him to do so. Alright, Lion's back up, so now we're back to waiting again. Waiting for a pickoff or something to happen. So let's point that out. There were multiple opportunities for your team to like push up and do something. Even if you don't even get a tower, at least you push all the way up here. You make them scared a little bit. You make them back up a little bit. They feel like they have to move back a bit. They can't farm as efficiently as they want. You get a bit of chip damage on this tower. You get your wards down. We've had several opportunities to do that we have missed. Now, is it the worst that we've missed it? Not necessarily, because like we think we're okay in the late game, but we could just be putting ourselves in a better position for the late game by, you know, pushing up. We're getting more farm for ourselves by coming up here, taking their jungle. We're stealing some farm from them, so their farm is worse. We give ourselves vision to get another pick off. Like, that is how we make our late game easier. I heard Haunt used, so this could break out into a team fight, so I want to replay. Right here, you're in range to stun this guy with this this talent. This is a double stun right here. Click right here. Actually, right here is a little weird. On the high ground to low ground, it's a little funny, so maybe I would like click a little further on the low ground to definitely line it up. Or if you feel more confident from the high ground, whatever. But you could definitely click like right here on Lion. Cast this. Like right here. Try to stun both of them. Maybe you'll just stun one. Hopefully you won't miss and stun neither, but that would be really good. Also, the fact he's got a Glimmer means we need Dust. Or several sentries, one or the other. I recently heard one of the... Who said it? I think it was Dubu, maybe, who wasn't carrying Dust, and someone asked him why, and he was like, as a support, I'd rather have like more sentries. So if that's something you want to do, that's fine. Personally, I still feel like in pub games, at our lower level pub games, Dust functions very well, and we are not as like we don't need to be as slot efficient as Dubu has to be at like the top tier play. So I still recommend Dust to a lot of people. But if you want to go that route, I wouldn't blame anyone for trying. Fortunately, you miss. Okay, when you're playing Rubick, it's very important to like keep up with the action because you have to know what spells people have used and to know when you're going to blink in. Camera work is tough, but I don't know. I feel like it's really important for Rubick. You can sort of depend on like hearing the spells, but it helps a lot to like just see Tidehunter use Ravage and know like, oh, I can blink past the tentacle, steal Ravage, go from there. Or like you see like Enigma running into Black Hole, so you know you're ready to like blink counter initiate immediately and lift him, or like blink lift him before he can BKB, or like be ready to steal. You know, don't accidentally steal from a line here because you see the Enigma coming in to stun. I think it's really important for Rubick to like be looking around a lot in these team fights. Stun. It's pretty low cooldown, 12 seconds. I guess that's not the lowest cooldown, but I think that would be a pretty good. You know, this is like possibly double stun right here. Some missed stuns. I don't want to flame you too hard on that. That's just like a mechanical mistake to be aware of. It's like, okay, I'll have to work on this. Line stun is kind of hard to hit. I'll be honest. All right. Ooh, unfortunate. So, after missing several minutes of opportunities where we constantly got one kill at a time, we have now lost a major team fight, which was kind of our fault because I think that started with Ursa being a little out of position and then everyone came in like one at a time. But I don't know. I just want to emphasize how like we didn't even need to get in this position, did we? If we had like kept up snowballing like one kill at a time, pushing that further out. Ooh, that's scary. Oh, you did get a glimmer. That just saved your life. Nice. Okay. Saving you up a bit. I would probably like run into the fountain real quick and heal up. You have a bit of time. Waiting for these people to spawn. Yeah, so that's really bad. Buying back and then dying right before your team is up. Super bad. I mean, I've done it. Everyone's done it. So we'll just be real. It's really bad to do. And when that happens, you just have to be careful. You just have to know, like, okay, I just bought back. I have to be really safe. If you're sitting at like 600 health, you cannot be up here against like a Spectre. You know, she's got the Abyssal. She's got Spectral Haunt. Or not Spectral Haunt. Spectral Dagger. You know, you got a Wind Ranger who could like run up to you really quick. You got this Lion with the blink. You just got to be a little careful. Play really defensive until your team is up. Where is Doom? Oh, there he is. Slow back down. All right, so with you being dead, so imagine if you hadn't died there. Your team is up. You've got 5 people. This guy is still dead. Your team could come contest this. Your team might still try to contest it. Doesn't look like they... Oh, kind of looks like they're going to. Okay, they are. But, like, wouldn't it be way safer if you were alive still? I just want to point out the, like, effects of... I think that's, like, the best way to improve late game. Doom on a Lion? What the heck? Not here for Doom. I think the best way... Maybe not the best way, but I think when you're thinking about late game decision making, it's really important to paint... I don't know why I keep saying it. I like never use that phrase, but it's important to like understand the effects of like everything, not everything, but like the major things that are happening. So like, oh, I died. What could I have done if I hadn't died? And what could my team have done if I hadn't died? And what can the enemy team do now that I am dead? And like understanding all those like different branching pathways is how you form late game decision making to understand like, oh, it would be super bad if I were to die right here because that opens up these branch ways of like losing the game. Whereas if I'm alive, yeah, we might still lose the game eventually, but we're going to miss out like this part of losing where it's like they snowball crazily and kill me right away. And like that's kind of how you form the late game decision making. So what I'm trying to do here is like to point out all the different effects of like, oh, you're dead now. see what's happening because you're dead, what could have happened if you weren't dead. I want to point all those out to help with this like late game idea. Do you see how much, by the way, do you see how much health she has right now? Firestorm. Max HP burn. So good. 4% of this. That's like 120 damage or some, no, 160 plus of damage. Not to mention the fact that you buff it up with your Arcane Supremacy. It's so much damage. It's crazy. I can't even do math and I know how much damage that is. Not specifically, but just, you know, feeling. It feels like a lot of damage. And it is. Man, these fights are so messy. Alright, I appreciate you trying to, like, keep up with everything. Now, everyone is allowed to use what they prefer to use. I noticed you using the edge pan. I used to use edge pan. I switched to the middle mouse. I switched to middle mouse movement because I thought that helped me keep my mouse in the center. I thought it would be harder to transition, but actually it was really easy for me. It was like a couple games. I recommend everyone to try the other options. If you decide, you know what, this really feels wrong to me, I don't like it, then that's fine. But, like, you know, hop into a bot game, do it while you're playing a custom game, while, like, you're playing Labyrinth or something. Try out different hotkey formats, different camera options. See what helps you move around. So, like, middle mouse for me helps me keep my mouse near the middle of the screen instead of on the edges. Helps me have, like, a bit more control, like, specifically of where I want to look around. Whereas edge panning felt, like, harder to do that. And then I can't do it in this, like, replay, but then, like, I click the hero button and it snaps right back to me. And the mouse is, like, always in this, like, inner box of the screen for the most part. And that helps me with, like, you know, moving around, seeing a bit, and microing. Personally, it was good for me. Might not be good for you guys, but I do recommend trying it. Because a lot of people just stick with what they've done and never try anything else. And for me, it definitely helped to switch my camera. So, Doom can buy back. Okay, whoa, hold on. This is already too far. Get ye back here. Get out of there. What do we have that can kill you? We got an Abyssal Spectral Dagger. We got, does she have her Invis talent? She does. She's got Invis running up. Maybe you didn't know she had Blink or Invis. I don't know when she got this. That might have been very recent in the fight. You've got this guy. You can teleport in and silence you. There's a lot of ways for you to die. And remember how you don't have buyback. You cannot die. I mean, you can, but, like, that's probably game losing. You absolutely do not want to die. Forget this. This is just, like, a ranged Bear Axe, and you are down 2 core heroes. Just give up the ranged Bear Axe. Do you give up one of these two? Maybe. If you die, you will probably... So let's go back to that whole idea of, like, branching pathways. If you die right now, and Doom buys back, it is still 4v3, and they can probably just end the game. Or they can at least mega you, because your team cannot fight 3v4. This guy doesn't even have Doom. And he's almost up, which means he'll TP in. That is if you die without buyback here. What if you survive? He buys back. It is now 4-on-4. They might get this Rax, and then when they come down here, he buys back. Maybe they still get this Rax, but then they back off because they're like, I don't really, like, 4v4 fight is a little tough. You're poking them down. He's got mines. They're like, okay, we'll back off. Or, like, maybe they come up here, try to get megas, and then by that point, like, the respawns are better or something. I don't know. Point is, if you die without buyback, it opens up the possibility for you to lose. And it makes it, like, very likely you will lose. It makes it very difficult. It closes the options that you have to defend. Whereas if you stay alive, you can sacrifice mid and bottom or mid and top, but then you'll have a 4v4 and it's possible to fight. I don't know if it was an accident and you didn't mean to, like, walk out this far, but this is bad. I am panic force-staffing myself out right now. Thank goodness that pushed you out a bit. You might actually survive here. Good Glimmer. Lift this guy. Alright. Let's go back, though. I want to watch this fight again. And you know what? We'll watch it from free cam. So I can move around myself. But first... I'm going to assume this. I don't know. This might have been a mistake where you meant to be looking, but you accidentally clicked. And then you came back and you were like, oh, shoot, I should not be here. That's fair. This is definitely not ideal to be here. I would immediately Glimmer Force Stealth myself out. When you guys are coming up to defend, and in fact, you even saw her because you have a sentry here. You should have lifted her up. She is way out of position up here. Like, maybe you guys even kill her before the rest of them can come in. So this sentry is very important. And I would have, like, lifted her here with Ursa right here. You maybe kill her. Although she has Wind Run going, so maybe you don't. But at the least, you, like, prevent her from shackling you. The second you see her, like, lift her, throw her back, Force Staff, and Glimmer yourself and get out. Like, this is just... I don't even care about this barracks. I'd probably just give it up. This double shackle, very... honestly, pretty good on her for lining it up. Okay, I see him use Pit first, I think. These effects are kind of overlapping now. It's making it hard to tell what's going on. Yeah, so Pit followed by Firestorm. I can steal Firestorm. That is like the spell I want. This guy, Lion is not here. All his stuns are not here. So he's not significant to me. Firestorm, we talked about it. She's getting pretty tanky, relatively, but she is so tanky. So tanky. This guy, actually not as tanky as I thought. This looks like... I'm surprised Wind Ranger has more health on him. But it gives you wave clear. It makes it difficult for them to fight in this area. It lasts for a really long time. Such a good spell. I want to steal this guy's spell. I believe you ended up stealing Spectral Dagger from her. Yeah, you did. But, like, remember we talked about it. She doesn't have good spells. I don't care about her. Right? I don't want her spells. I want this guy's spells. His spells are so good. Pit, great. Q, great. Very unlikely you ever get Dark Rift. But it's kind of, it's not bad, honestly. It gives you the option to, like, push really deep as a team and get out. Like, I would be happy with any of his spells. But if you're a Rubick and you steal Haunt, what does that do? It does absolutely nothing. And if you steal Spectral Dagger, alright, you see some people, but, like, they're in your base. You see them. So the vision's useless. The move speed, not so useless, but still kind of useless. The damage is 240. Like, one instance of the max HP burn plus your amplification is probably more than that one dagger. And that is like an individual, like, burn instance. You know, I can't emphasize it enough how good that spell is. And how important it is to, like, recognize that is the spell I need. And it changes every game. That's why Rubick's hard. Like, Rubick is a 3-star hero based on, like, Dota's complexity. And, like, he is a difficult hero to play because you have to keep track of all these spells. So it's really important to identify that most carries do not have spells you want to steal. Because most carry spells are balanced around the fact that they will build damage. And you're a support, you do not build damage. So it sucks. You want stuns and spell damage things. Things that most carries do not have. So we never want to, like, panic steal from a Spectre. We want to be very, like, specific with what we are stealing. And in this case, it's pretty easy. It's like, I will try to steal from one of these two heroes. Like, if I have no idea what they've cast, I don't care. Like, whatever I get will be pretty decent. Except for Drain. Drain kind of sucks. But even then, you could use Drain to dispel, to instantly kill off a Spectre illusion. Which is still better than a Spectral Dagger. Alright. And your team had to use buybacks, but overall, why did you stop attacking? I don't know. I like the idea. Oh yeah, we are back on player perspective. But I don't know if you can really kill her. So I don't know if I would chase out that far, because she could probably kill you. Now at this point of the game, let's check up on your neutrals again. 3 hour 14. Now you did have the repair kit. You could have dropped on that before the fight started, but honestly, not that important. I feel like at this point, it is going kind of late. I kind of feel like maybe it's time to ditch this. Especially when a team fight's breaking out. Like, you could take the Orb of Destruction, which, yeah, it's not amazing for you, but you know who it's good for? It's good for Ursa. But Ursa wants to use these because those are really good. And so you could use this instead for him and attack the heroes that he's attacking, if possible. You don't have to, like, risk your life to do it. But, like, that is going to have more impact for your team than, like, a Philosopher's Stone in a team fight. So I would swap. When a team fight looks like it's breaking out, I would swap it. Probably take the Orb of Destruction for my team, but I might also take, like, the Pupil's Gift for more stats. Or heck, if no one wants the Havoc Hammer, 18 strength, like, that's not bad. And you get this, like, kind of a goofy active for a Rubick, but I mean, it's still probably going to have more impact than a Philosopher's Stone in a team fight. All right. Unfortunate. You do have to be really careful of a Wind Ranger at this point of the game, because she will just solo kill supports extremely easily. With that in mind, it might be time for a Ghost Scepter at this point. Ghost Scepter will protect us from Wind Ranger. It does open up the option to die from, like, Finger or, like, his ult, but you have a Glimmer, and that helps to mitigate the fact that Ghost Scepter boosts your, whatever. What was your 20 talent? -4. Yeah, I agree with that. I'd be looking around clicking. Who's that you just ran by? Like, who's this? You see how they're split up? Actually, this is good. See how... Alright, it seems like it's a bit buggy, but I think that person ran into Lion, ran into, like, the vision from the mines. So you see Lion there, and you see Wind Ranger here, and you see Underlord here. What's a good target to fight right now? Probably it's Wind Ranger, to try to kill her with your team. Now, granted, you two are dead, you know, so it's like, it's not happening right now. But the idea that I was talking about is like, oh, I see them split up. I see two down here, and she's up here. We could go try to kill her. It'd be kind of... Technically, he could rift in, and that's a little awkward. Hopefully, the plan is to kill Wind Ranger before they can finish rifting in. Your other option is to take the team fight here, because she has no way to get to the fight quickly. Like, maybe she has a teleport and she can come here. So that's technically one way. But if you guys say still had this outpost and you see, like, one or two down here, maybe you can come here to fight. But still, that doesn't feel as good because, you know, she could haunt in. He's the tankiest target. He's got the AoE team fight. And so it's like, I don't really feel good about that. I would rather attempt to kill this Wind Ranger, and if I see them rift in, we try to get out. Or if we kill the Wind Ranger before they rift in, then it's like, okay, like, maybe we can just take this team fight now. It'll depend on the game, you know, so I can't say exactly what you could do. But that's what I'm thinking. Whoa! You might need a gem to deal with her. Either way, you need detection. And so you either need a bunch of sentries. Oh, actually, you have to have the sentries. And then at this point, dust is a little space restricted, but I'd probably swap out the magic stick to carry dust. Because, like, what if Wind Ranger gets out alive at this point? Like, it's so bad, right? If she was super close to dying, but she gets out because of invis and you don't have any more sentries, that could literally change the game. So it's really important to have detection to see her. Alright, back to what we were doing. Playing defensive. I might hold the repair kit in your backpack. That might be the neutral item I use. Because the HP regen is, like, honestly not bad to tank up. And that way you're ready to use it on this tower. Like, here. As they come up, you can pop it on this. Alright, so let's slow down. Looks like another push is about to happen here. I don't want to stand on top of him. That's just a general good rule. Do not stand on top of your carries. Now, it's unlikely that Lion Blink stuns here. But if they were a bit more ahead, if they still had Haunt, Wind Ranger, what if she had Blink, Blink Shackle? Actually, you two are a little too close. It might be hard to hit that. But in other games where they have, like, AoE stuns, Blink Initiators, and, like, even in this game, I think it's just a generally good habit not to stand, like, right next to your teammates. And you could repair kit this, you know, so it's not taking too much damage and it heals up. Techies is too close, in my opinion. Alright, we stole Finger. Finger doesn't really help us defend, though. It is kind of nice, but, you know, Finger, not going to kill her, most likely. Maybe you could use it to kill her. You probably use it to kill him. Not killing him. Unlikely to kill him because he has BKB. You know, so it's like, yeah, the damage is nice, but let's be actually come to think about it, 850 damage. I honestly actually think Firestorm does more damage to Spectre at this point. Not to like go back and beat that dead horse again, because I absolutely would have stolen Finger as well. But you know, from a replay where it's easier for me to like be chill and think about it, I do think Firestorm is probably the better spell. Okay, you Finger him. You know what? That's fine. Let's steal another spell now. Go steal that. I would have tried to steal Firestorm right away, I think. I guess it's a kind of a low cooldown at this point, but you know, it's like a really expensive spell. And I don't know. You love to steal this. I would rather, you know, just steal it from the Underlord. Steal it from whoever. When you pick Rubick, as you watch the game load in, just, like, every time they pick a hero, look at them and decide, okay, these are the spells I want. These are the ones I don't want. Spectral Dagger going to lead you to a kill? Am I going to eat my words? No. All right, right now. We have 2 people dead. They're mostly up. They're probably going to come again. We need to try to push out what lanes we can safely. Can't really push out top too far. Can't push out mid too far. We're just going to have to defend bottom. But that's like the thought process order. Sometimes you will have the option to safely push. So in this case, they have a Spectre, Nature's Prophet. Very difficult to push out. But other times, they're not going to have such mobile heroes. And you're going to see like a group of them all top. And then you know, okay, I have to shove out bottom right now. I don't want them to be able to push top and then immediately come bottom. I want them to, like, you know, if we can cut top wave somehow, then suddenly they can't push because they have no creeps breaking back door. But if we hadn't pushed out bottom and it's just chipping away our bottom tower, then it's like they can. So I want to push us out because then maybe our lane can even chip their tower and we can get an objective. Or we can force one of them to go back because Arc Warden, specifically in this game, when you have someone like Arc Warden who can TP Rat, you need a lane pushing out to threaten their base so that you have the option for Arc Warden to backdoor them and Rat. But if all the lanes are pushed into your base all the time, it's not going to happen. Now, it's really hard to do because, like we said, they have these 2 mobile heroes. But I want to explain that so that, you know, you can make that decision in your own late games. If they don't have someone mobile, we need to do it. And frankly, even though they do have mobile heroes, we still need to do it. It's just hard to do. But it's not like we don't want to do it just because they have mobile heroes. It's just really dangerous and really difficult to do. I would not be outside your base. Stay inside your base, especially when you have people dead. You're probably going to have to buy back now.
See you later,
Yeah.
nerds.
This might be a little preemptive, to be honest. Oh, maybe not. I guess you kind of... I guess they're here, so... Again, you bought back. We want to be really careful about where we position. Even this is a little far up front for me. I might even want to be, like, back here more. Maybe need to help Ursa. Looks like we're going to steal Spectral Dagger again. Okay, you know what? You didn't have a spell. I'm happy to see you take, like, any spell. Again, consider positioning. It's a little scary. I know you can see a couple of them, but, like, I don't know. I just want it to be, like, a good habit. I'm going to point it out as many times as I can. Spectral Dagger kill! Ah, you did it! It was worth it. This is why it's usually better to take a spell if you don't have any. Now, having said that, you did use it. You got your kill. I might have tried to steal a spell from Nature's Prophet. I think his spells are going to be generally more useful than Spectral Dagger. You might get Treants, who can help you push out a lane and defend. Sprout, not a bad way to, like, trap her. I mean, she'll power shot it, but at least she'll have to, like, use her power shot for that. Or, you know, steal a spell from Lion. There you go. What do we have? Finger again? Okay, that's kind of bad of him. He should have used... Now, you're probably just going to have to give up one of your racks because, like, see what you guys are doing and walking back and forth? What if you just had, like, this lane pushed out sooner? I know you didn't really get a chance to do it this game, but just, like, hypothetically, we need to think about it. If this lane was pushed out all the way here by the time they get to your base, then all they can do is push mid and top. Whereas here, this is a classic pub game where you run top, you run bottom. You run top, you run bottom. And then each time, the towers are losing, like, 300 health. You need to, like, commit people, like, okay, you two stay here, 3 of us stay here, whatever. Split them up. Don't all, like, walk back and forth. But then ideally, you just avoid that situation of having to walk back and forth by pushing out the tower all the way. Because most people, even if ahead, don't want to just walk under tower and push it. Even if the back door is down, they don't want to tank a tower on their own and die. All right, this is good. Great kill. What can you do right now? You can push stuff out and get some deeper wards. Now at this point, because you are behind, you don't have to have like the deepest wards, like all the way out here. I would say maybe 1 aggressive ward if you can even get to that point. Now, wards in your own jungle are much more value because like this is where the enemy is playing. This is where we can look for a pick off. No detection. That was like that could have been a kill right there. Actually, your spells were on cooldown. He might have still blinked away, but the idea is there. It's really important to have detection. That guy's got a glimmer. Windrunner has invis. These are free kills going away. All right, because we're pausing it so much, and I wasn't paying attention. I won't make excuses for myself. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know when the Roche timer is, but that could be a potential objective for you guys as well. Maybe rush directly into Roche to check it. Like, you guys have a repair kit. This tower could have been repaired. Yeah, like you see how heavy that uses all your mana. This is why it's fun to steal Finger, but you can only use it so many times. Now I think he's doing Roshan. I can only imagine that's what he's doing. He's standing there. And you TP'd bottom to defend, but like, isn't that wild? It's 5 of you versus 3 of them, and you still had to TP back to defend. You know, this isn't strictly your fault, but someone, if the team does not know what they need to do, someone needs to direct it. And it's like, yo, someone push this lane out. It is 5v3, you know, so that they can't come and force us back and even take a tower when they have 3 people dead. And then I think you guys killed the Underlord during this, but I mean, now Ursa's alone and you guys are all in your base. Like, that doesn't make much sense. 5 of you are alive, 3 of them are dead, and 4 of you are in your base. The Aghanims, it's kind of fun because then you can switch between like a lot of different stuns, but at the same time, I feel like I still just want Firestorm or I want one of the stuns. I don't know if you need an Ags. Other games, yes, but like because there are 3 heroes where we don't really care for their spells, I think an Aghanims is better when they have a lot of like major team spells. So it's like you steal Finger, you use Finger. You steal Black Hole, you use Black Hole. Then you go back to Firestorm. Then you take his stun. You know, but now it's just like, I only want like 2 of their spells. I don't care about like anyone else's spells. So I just want those. But the Ags is really good when there's like a lot of different things that are really good to have. And on different heroes. That's kind of important. It's not fully important, but like it's difficult to steal like all like Lion when he goes, he probably combos, right? He probably Earth Spike and then like hexes very close together. And it's unlikely that you're going to steal Hex and then steal Earth Spike. So like it kind of has to be different heroes that have spells you want to take. That's not fully true, but I think that helps. What could you get instead of an Ags? Your team has the damage. I kind of just want to help them like not get kited. And our base is also in a bit dire condition. So we might need something to help like defend preemptively. Crimson Guard is weird on you. At this point, Vlad's, Medallion, all of those are a little weird. Maybe just a Scythe. You know, hex her when she walks up. I kind of like that. I don't hate Solar Crest to buff up Ursa, but I don't think it's necessary because I think he will do all the damage. I kind of like the idea of a late game Scythe. Maybe even a Lotus to throw on people so they can't get like Abyssal, Shackle Shot, Focus Fired, Bloodthorned, Halberded, Scythe. Yeah, I think Lotus or Scythe would be pretty nice. I don't think the Ags is strictly necessary. Although it is kind of fun to have the Ags finger, actually, come to think about it. But still, no, it's not. Well, 20 seconds, you can use it as wave clear. But you could still use Firestorm as wave clear and your Fade Bolt. Do you really have the mana to cast a 625 mana spell? A ton? No. Scythe is also really good for these kind of late game pickoffs to Scythe people before they BKB. One of the most annoying things in the world is someone like him who just... Okay, this is another thing you need in late game stuff, especially with Ratters. You need something that pierces BKB. So that this guy cannot just BKB, teleport in, hit this tower, and then get out. I believe Ursa has an Abyssal. Yes, good. But it's still useful to have on multiple people. Abyssal's a little weird for you to get. So the other side of that is Scythe, where you can quickly blink Scythe someone before they have a chance to react. But late game comes down to like items to help you kill an individual target or to prevent ratting. And that's why I was thinking like Crimson Guard. It's a little weird to get this late in the game, though, for like Doom to get a Crimson Guard, but it's really good to prevent chip damage if they're a team that like slowly takes towers that way. I might also consider randomly have someone keep the Orb of Destruction in their backpack in case you guys ever get to push out, so that you know, you can do some minus armor on the towers. What's happening? Back up. So, Nature's Prophet's dead. Let's just go back in time to when I was talking about what you should do. And in fact, the map has not changed that much. You all get together. You push out the lanes you need, but Arc Warden can do that with Illusion, or his clone. You place a deep ward, you know, a weird one. But all of you have to be together, because then it's a 5 versus 4. When your team splits up like this, what if the 4 of them are all grouped? Actually, it doesn't have to be. It's 3 of them. Maybe even just Wind Ranger alone finds this guy, shackles him to this tree. She haunts in. She kills Doom. It's now 4v4. She runs in. She sees 2 of you. She shackles you together. Haunts in. Despite having the man advantage, they get a double kill. It's really important to notice this so that we cannot let it happen. And so what that means is like we need to be together. We can't be split up super apart like this. Otherwise, the fact that we have one person killed doesn't mean anything. And like this kind of positioning, really risky because you know she's invis and extremely mobile and she has a global haunt. If you run into one person, you are running into 2 people. Like that is what this global pressure means. And when he's alive, it's 3 people. So you can't be out here alone. It doesn't even matter. Wind Ranger finds you. She doesn't even need the other 2 global people. She just kills you on her own. So you have to be like moving back here and like with your team forward. I would just be like constantly near this guy and where's Ursa? Because I want to enable them and protect them. And like, what'll I ever do if I find someone on my own? I'm not killing anyone on my own. I can only kill people if I'm near these guys. And can I be killed on my own? Yes, so badly. I can be killed by so many people like this.
See you later, nerds.
So what's happening is they are winning the 4v5 because we split up on the map. This is why late game is really hard in pubs. It takes a lot of discipline. Long ago, before I started the recent project, I had a whole article written out about late game. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. I never ended up using it. I never completed it. But there's like, I've been in a lot of long games, so I spent a lot of time thinking about it. Because I don't mind long games, I'll play it out. And so I think my playstyle as well leads to long games. I play like Treant Protector. So there's a lot of stuff you can do that's like minor efficiency late game stuff. We're talking mostly about major game stuff, where we're like looking for pickoffs, stuff like that. Nice. AoE Hex on Lion. I know Lion's a bad hero right now, but these talents are crazy. You know, the AoE Hex I think is like the greatest talent in the game. When he gets good again, I will play him. For that rare chance I get in a 50-minute game like this, can AoE Hex people. I think it's so good. Hex is the strongest disable in the game. And now it's AoE. Crazy. So when you have lanes pushed out like this is good. Bottom and top, because an Arc Warden clone can come in, take a tower. Open up these T3s so that if you guys ever do make it to the end, you can try to take all their racks at once. Arc Warden is pretty good at taking towers. So. But if you have these T2s up, you can't. Alright, same deal. Once again, I want to place weird wards that help me spot stuff. I don't want to be too much by myself. Like, what benefit is it to you to stand up here rather than back here? I'll tell you, there's no benefit to being up here. You can die up here. You still die back here, but it's safer. You're at least, like, you know, under these towers.
See you later, nerds.
I don't believe you have buyback. Oh, you have it now. You didn't have it before. But still, we don't want to have to use a tune. See? So he blink hexes you because you're over here. There's no use to be up here. Be further back. Firestorm. Great spell. Actually, we should be slowed down, shouldn't we? This is like the final fight, probably. Alright, so we got Blink Hexed. Stole Firestorm. Great spell. Should throw out the Fade Bolt, I think. Or look for Spectre to use it on because of the damage reduction. We're gonna get killed by her. It's unfortunate. Buyback is correct, I believe. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. It's absolutely correct. Buyback. Fade Bolt her. Reduce her damage. 34 damage reduction. 34%. Bring her down like 50 damage. That's a lot. That's a lot. Fade Bolt her. You have the cooldown talent. Just Fade Bolt her. Throw it out. Hex, great spell. Do not trade this for Spectral Dagger. This 4-second duration stun. It's insane. Amplified by 40%. This is almost 6 seconds. Is that not absolutely insane? Is that already amplified? It's not. Yeah. It's like almost 6 seconds. That is absurd. An instant stun. That is 6 seconds. Do not trade this for 240 damage on Spectral Dagger. This is where Blink is really good on Rubick as well. Lion likes Blink so he can instant initiate. Rubick, Telekinesis is instant, and if you know you can steal another instant spell like Hex, Blink is also quite good for that. Blink is not that great against a Spectre, but when you reach this late point in the game, so like the early mid-game, Blink's not so good because it's like, oh, Spectre, not great, so I get other things. Late game, where we need to get that individual pickoff, a Blink initiate, super important. If no one else on your team can do it. And no one else on your team really can do it, so really good for you. I'd be careful about using your teleport, but I suppose this isn't the worst. I'd still be careful about defending this yourself because like any of them could come in to kill you and you don't have the best defensive vision. I would want your team right now, like 3 of you, to like push one lane together and clear out an area. You know, push bottom, and then as you all back up together and Arc Warden clone like continues to push or something, you like sentry this area and then place like a weird ward, you know? So like sentry the common spots, the cliffs and stuff, and then put like a ward here or something. Or like put a ward maybe a little higher here. That lets you see this area so you know when they're pushing in. So now you know if it's safe to clear this because you can see the Wind Ranger like waiting here to kill you or something.
See you later, nerds. See you later, nerds.
Who's dying up there? The real Arc Warden? That's probably the end of the game off of that. Wind Ranger's in your base looking for you. Oh, the instant initiate, but no detection! You probably would still lose, but I think the 2 of you could have killed that Wind Ranger. Or you have the option you have the possibility to, right? This like 5.5 seconds hex, followed by like a 2.8-ish second telekinesis. Fade bolt for this for the damage. He has the abyssal afterwards. He's doing a bunch of damage during the whole time. Hopefully, you know, like 8 seconds of stun is enough to kill her. Yeah, this is like way too close. I would back up. Like, are you really gonna stop this, right? And you see, you're standing here and it's not stopping her, which means standing here is pointless. Stand further back because we weren't stopping her anyways, and I won't die back here, or I'm less likely to die back here. I really need a sentry down. Look at that hex. Insane. So long. Firestorm, another really good steal. Did I mention that? I might have even kept Hex instead of Firestorm, but at this point in a team fight, you know, I think it's fine. So, let's reiterate. You guys got pushed into this corner 30 minutes ago. Oh, this video is long, hour and 40 minutes. If you guys had, after you get those picks, like I saw the window of opportunity and I pointed out where it's like, I think it was Spectre, Nature's Prophet, they were dead. So it's like, let's push out. We got that Wind Ranger kill, we could have pushed out. We got this Lion kill, we could have pushed out. Like, there were multiple chances where someone was dead and we could have moved out onto the map to, like, move the game in our favor. And, like, if we look at the graph, like, it was fairly close. And so if, like, any of those times where, like, we wasted our opportunities around here, like, we could have pushed our advantage, like, maybe even onto our side. And that changes, like, the course of the game when your team is ahead. And then hopefully we're just not even in that late game position. Definitely a winnable game. And I think winning that game revolves around having vision further out on the map so that you can get those pickoffs. And when you get those pickoffs, you have to do something, which is usually to continue snowballing your ability to get pickoffs by placing those wards and for looking for more kills. And then eventually, if you've done that and it's not like in your base, it's on their half of the map, then you can actually transform that into an objective, either one of their towers or Roshan, something like that. That Roshan steal, that could have been pretty big, but that's I want to emphasize, like, major stuff. Like, that is something that could have won maybe this game, but is, like, not applicable in many other games. Because you just won't have the chance. Can we see? Oh, I can't see it because of these. I would have loved to look at the damage breakdown on Firestorm, just to, like, really kick that point home. But here, maybe this is a good way to show it. Just look at how much damage Underlord did. Kind of absurd. And in fact, if you have Dota Plus, I think you could, and it looks like you do because you have the levels. I think you can go back and check this in the replays, and you can see the damage you dealt and look at the spells you took and see what dealt more damage. Finger that you stole probably only did like 1,200 damage because I think you only used it like twice. Firestorm probably did a ton, is my guess. And then see how much damage this, like, Spectral Dagger did. Although it did get you that one Wind Ranger kill. I'll give you that. But maybe Firestorm could have done that. And then a bit more detection. You know they had a lot of invis. Yeah, you never even bought Dust, so you just have to. It's not really like a debatable thing. You just have to have some kind of detection. And almost always someone needs to be carrying, like, Dust and or sentries. You need, like, multiple sources of detection is ideal, in my opinion. Okay, I think that's it. That's enough talking. We're at an hour and 44 minutes. All right. If you watched all of this, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me for 2 hours. Hopefully it was educational. Have a great day. Goodbye.